She told me I needed to find out if big size really matters. You'll never know. Don't worry. I answered once. Okay. A week later, she came home from a girls' night and her face froze when she saw who opened the door. I didn't flinch when she repeated it, that same smug little curl at the corner of her mouth, eyes testing me like a kid holding a match over a puddle of gasoline. I need to find out if big size really matters. You'll never know. Don't worry. I looked at her. No shouting, no tears, only silence, and a single word that closed everything. Okay. We'd been married 7 years. I loved her with the kind of devotion that bends a man's spine and rearranges his life. I gave her loyalty, constancy, a home she never had to question. She gave me laughter, warmth, the comfortable belief that I was safe. Or at least that's what I told myself while watching her laugh with friends and trusting her girls' nights without a second thought. But those words that night weren't a careless joke. They were a confession, a taunt, a blade held where I could see it. At first, the hurt was white-hot, as if a brand had been pressed to my chest. Then it cooled, hardened, and calcified into something sharper, clarity. She hadn't misspoken. She wanted me to know she was stepping outside the marriage. She wanted me diminished. I am not small, and I do not break. It didn't take long to see the pieces fall where I expected. One night, the phone was left unlocked on the kitchen counter. Messages glowed like neon. Can't wait for tonight, he'll never know. LOL, bigger is always better. Each line scorched, but I kept reading. Screenshot, save, forward to my private email. I wasn't hunting for confirmation anymore. I was collecting proof. Her girls' nights were motel rooms and strangers. Every secret she'd thought was wrapped in perfume and lies, I filed away in silence. Anger wanted to shout. Revenge whispered its own plan. I answered the whisper. Step 1, secure the money. Quietly redirect joint accounts. Change passwords. Route my paycheck into an account she didn't know existed. Step 2, build the case. Screenshots, hotel receipts, phone records. Enough to bury her in court and leave her with nothing but regret. Step 3, timing. I didn't want a sudden blaze. Explosions end fast. I wanted a slow collapse, a stage set so perfectly that when the curtain fell, she would lose more than me. She would lose the self-image she clung to. The following week, she stepped out in her tight black dress, heels clicking like a countdown. I waited, patient and composed. Everything was in motion. By the time she returned, the locks had been changed. The house she assumed would open to her was no longer hers. But I didn't leave. I stayed and waited. When she knocked, I opened the door. And beside me, not the lover she expected, stood the man she revered and dreaded disappointing most. Her father. I had called him earlier that evening and sent everything. The screenshots, the receipts, the truth she thought buried. The look on her face when she found him in my living room, eyes blazing with fury, shame and hurt, was the image I had painted stroke by careful stroke. Care to explain? He asked, voice low and lethal in its calm. Her mouth opened, no words came, only a strangled sound. Mascara already streaked down her cheeks as reality sank in. She turned to me, frantic. I met her steady gaze without yelling, without pleading. My silence said more than any outburst could. Her father dropped an envelope of printed screenshots on the table. The slap of paper in the doorway sounded like a gunshot. Her safe little world shattered right there. The days that followed moved fast. Divorce papers filed, evidence attached. Friends who once envied our marriage suddenly saw the rot under the glitter. Her father cut her off, mortified. Friends pulled away. Whispers of betrayal spread quicker than she could control. The man she'd been sleeping with vanished. He had never been hers, only a fleeting thrill. I walked out of it clean, finances secured, reputation intact, a future free of poison. She wanted to know if size mattered. It did. But not in the way she meant. Not physical, not carnal. The size of patience, the size of silence, the size of a man's resolve when pushed too far. She mistook my quiet for weakness, my calm for smallness. Now, standing alone and stripped of respect, security, and the mask she wore so proudly, she finally understands. I was never small. I was always more than she could handle. When I closed the door that night, her stunned expression imprinted itself on me. I learned something then. Revenge isn't about rage, it's about control, and I never lost mine.